slash toast. Please help me welcome the best man, Chris. Come on up.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. To our Trinity guests, I hope we can go lamen. We have many wonderful people still here. Well, two of them. I thought I was going first. So I will try to keep this short and sweet. I'm honored to have the privilege of being here today. As those who know me are already aware, I'm not a renowned speechwriter, but I promise I'll do my best because Mike said if I do a good job today that I can be the best man in his next wedding. I've known Mike a long time and I've had the opportunity to watch him grow from the quiet kid who used to play with Ninja Turtle dolls into the smart, funny, charming, handsome I'm sorry, Mike, I'm having a hard time reading your handwriting here, so I'll have to wait for that. As I watch Mike grow, we've elevated ourselves from being simply brothers to the status of best friends. My name's Chris, and I stand here today as Mike's best man. So I'll try now to give Mike the most uncomfortable 3 minutes of his life. For the record, the most uncomfortable 3 minutes of Melanie's life is coming up later this evening. I really wanted to live up to the expectations of what a best man should be. And wanted my speech to be memorable, so when Mike and Mel wrote the news to me that I have to write a speech, I immediately fired up the computer, chugged 5 coffees, ordered some pizza, and began to Google like no one had ever Googled before. So I actually found a couple of ready-made speeches on the internet, but sadly none of them were about a couple named Mike and Melanie, so I had to start from scratch. As part of my research, and believe it or not, this was research, I discovered that according to tradition as the best man, I'm supposed to sing the groom's praises and tell you about his many good points. Well, I hate to disappoint you, but I can't sing and I won't lie. Now, since Mike and I grew up in the days long before Instagram and cell phone pics, there's a lot about Mike's childhood that I was a little gray on. I asked Mom and Dad if they had any nice pictures of him that I could show today, and they told me they had the perfect one. A really cute picture of their little boy posing on a bearskin rug, eating a cookie with drool running down his chin. I was gonna get it blown up and shown here today, but I thought it might be a little embarrassing since they only took it last week. Now, Mike and I have been through a lot together. For example, we've gone to concerts, got kicked out of clubs together, we went to Vegas on a whim, and even played pool in biker bars where we were the only two not wearing motorcycle gang jackets. He's also very tech savvy and has helped me immensely with the setup of my home. So suffice to say that we've got some great memories and we've been in some tough situations, but he's always been there for me and I'd like to thank him for that. Now, I'm a couple years older than Mike, and from time to time he's called on those years of experience for advice. So before Mike met Melanie, he found it kind of hard to talk to girls. As Dave, Pat, and Josh and the boys can attest, sure, he could chat and make small talk, but when it came time to close the deal, it was a little bit of a lost cause. No clue. He's a little helpless. Until he met Melanie, that is. Melanie changed him and changed him for the better. He's happier, more energetic, and definitely more responsible than I've ever seen. So speaking of Melanie, I'd like to thank the bridesmaids for doing such a good job and helping her down the aisle. Bridesmaids and bridesmen, you all look fantastic as well. I do have to say how lucky you are, Mike. You will leave here having gained a wife that is warm, loving, and caring. A wife who is funny and who radiates wherever she goes. And Melanie, you will leave here today with a beautiful dress, a bouquet of flowers, and a heart. But seriously, you married a man that will walk to the ends of the earth to make you happy. Now, I promised Mike I wouldn't tell the really embarrassing stories about him, and since most of them incriminate myself and the groomsmen in some way, I think that's a good idea. But for those who are dying to hear some embarrassing stories about him, I'll be at the bar, but you have to call me by my full name. Walsh, would you like another drink? So traditionally, a best man speech should finish by giving the bride and groom some marital advice. So being 4 years older than Mike and having been married for the past 16 years, I'd like to give some advice of my own speaking from experience. So Mike, this is important. First thing you have to do is you have to set the ground rules and establish who's the boss. And then do everything Melanie says. You have to always tell your wife those 4 little words, "You are right, dear." And don't forget that if you buy Melanie flowers, she automatically knows you're guilty of something. She'll remember right down to the second the last time you brought her some and the reason why, so be careful. And finally, I've heard a saying that marriage is a 50-50 partnership. As a married man, I feel obligated to let you know that whoever tells you this knows very little about women and less about fractions. Now, I've had some fun at Mike's expense, but I'd like to seriously let you know what marriage means to me. Marriage is about 2 people committed to and sharing a life and dreams together, about having someone to laugh and cry with, about having someone who is there for you regardless of how tough the situations might be. To get really sappy, it is about unconditional love and giving your whole self to your partner, turning the other cheek and swallowing your pride from time to time. And most importantly, it's about supporting one another regardless of how hard it can be sometimes. So Mike, Melanie, may your love be modern enough to service the times, yet old-fashioned enough to last forever. To honor our Trinidad guests, I found a saying online, and I hope I'm using it right. Take in front before in front take ya. And to honor our newfie guests, long may your big jib drop. So to love, laughter, and happily ever after as Mike and Melanie begin their new life together. So please stand and join me in toasting the new husband and wife. So Mike, Melanie, while you're standing, if you could hold hands and look each other in the eyes for me. Now I want you to take a good long
That's a
look.
lot of instructions.
I want you to know that the person you're looking at right now is statistically the most likely to murder you. Cheers.
It was a big song. That was good.
All right, a few more speeches to go. That was very good. Let's give our best man a round of applause. I was just asking the parents if there's been any signs of statistics that was just mentioned.
There's many nights I slept with a locked bedroom door.
Fair enough. All right, let's welcome groomsman Josh. Please come on up.
Jose's gonna say something. Look out.
All right, everybody. Good evening. I didn't write a speech or anything crazy. I just figured I'd, fly by the seat of my pants like I do in life. So for those of you who don't know, I've known Mike since high school, and Dave, Mike, and I all lived together for 5 years in a place we affectionately referred to as the House of Hate. And as ominous as that sounds, it was actually a great place and probably one of the most fun times of my life, where I got to know Mike on a different level than just a best friend. I knew exactly, and I know exactly who Mike is. And over all of the UFC nights and rock band hours and hours we've spent fishing, I've always known one thing about Mike and his friendship. And I want to let Mel know what kind of husband she is getting. And I think that there's only 2 kinds of best friends you can have. You have the best friend who is comfortable enough to look you in the eye, be 100% transparent, and tell you when you've screwed up. The other best friend is the best friend who has his arm around you, shaking his head, saying, "God damn, we screwed up." And I've always known that though Mike and I never got ourselves in any sort of hot water or sticky situations, I've always known that Mike is going to be the guy with his arm around me saying, "Man, we screwed up." really did her this time. And I want Mel to know that she is getting the most devoted, caring, ride or die husband that one could ever want. And I've always loved Mike for that. And I love you guys. Congratulations. Let's have a great night.
Yeah.